Hello, everybody. Hello. And this is the second time I've done a Facebook Live today. We're streaming I'm catching up basically on been lying in bed for the last week and a half with a not very well pelvis and sore back. So I'm making up my time today by doing two live streams. And I'm so excited to just introduce you to a very special person who I've been working alongside now for a good sort of 9 or 10 months. And this very special lady is Thomas-Humphreys. And Catherine is a financial advisor, and she is also just graduated from our certified financial coaching program. So I wanted to have a really quick, fun chat conversation this evening, for 15 minutes or so, with a cup of tea, and just introduce Catherine to all of you, because what is really important for me is two things. One is about helping you to understand the differences between an advisor and a coach. And also, for those of you that follow my work and are interested in learning how to integrate financial coaching into your business, I also want to talk about the impact that coaching has with clients' relationships with money. So welcome, Catherine. Good evening. Happy Friday.
Hey, Catherine, and to you too. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for joining me. So we're going to dive straight into this topic then, Catherine. So tell us a little bit about what do you do in your capacity as an advisor and as a coach?
Okay, so when I've got my financial advice hat on, firstly, I'm regulated. And what I do is I work with some wonderful people of all ages. We work together, sometimes just on solutions and sometimes on developing a plan. For example, a specific recommendation for that person, maybe to save more, to invest in their future. And I've got a particular soft spot for old ladies. I just love that moment when they retire, and just being part of that. So that's the financial advice. The financial coaching, which I've really enjoying. I've only just started. There's loads less paperwork, so that is definitely a plus. But it's just lovely conversations. And I feel in that role, I'm much more facilitating a change, sometimes to get them advice ready. And we're working through maybe the more emotional underlying behaviours and habits and limiting beliefs, to work through those, to implement a change that would then take them forwards. And so whilst they are both financial, I think they are completely different.
Yeah, it's a really good point, isn't it? Because often, there's a bit of semantics, I think, in the financial services profession about money coaches, financial advisors, financial planners, wealth managers. We could probably list like 20 or 30 titles. And in reality, what's the most important thing is about the change work that we can help to facilitate for clients. And also then leading on to, getting clients into a position where they feel, first of all, deserving to have wealth and keep it, and then to grow it. And so I know, Catherine, obviously you've been a financial advisor for many, many years, and you've recently added the repertoire of certified financial coach to your toolkit. Tell us a little bit about when you came into the training program last year in 2020. Yeah. What was it that you thought financial coaching was going to be about?
Okay, so in many senses, I expected it to do what the name said, to work with people, to coach them, not dissimilarly to perhaps what my swimming coach does for me in the swimming pool, working on goals toward a longer training plan and building habits, but obviously about money. What I didn't expect, and this caught me kind of offside to begin with, was the emotional impact. So when I go to the swimming pool and go and do my training, other than perhaps I might doubt myself or feel unmotivated, I'm not emotionally invested in it. But with money and finances, certainly myself and almost everyone I worked with on my cohort and the people I've worked with since as clients, it's almost entirely an emotional journey. So you'd think it's about money, and ultimately it is, but I'd say 95% of it is rooted in emotions and history and the kind of backgrounds that we've had. So that bit caught me offside very much.
And what did you find the most challenging about going through? Because one of the core parts of the training program is that you get to experience this transformation in your own relationship with money. What did you find challenging about diving deep into your own relationship with money as a financial advisor?
Yeah, exactly that, the emotions. So the financial advice, it's almost that you're one step removed. You're looking at a solution, a product, an outcome. So as I went through the course, tootled on nicely to begin with, thinking, yeah, this is what I expected, learning techniques, tools, ways of having conversations. And then partway through, it was really when we started the role playing and the practicing and working with each other, because you role play stuff you don't know. So you end up role playing yourself, and you end up role playing your own feelings and your own experiences, even if you're amending it. And 3 or 4 sessions in, I became really quite negative. I kind of sat back, so why am I doing this? A little bit kind of not hostile, but hostile with myself. And I almost considered stopping it. It was like, well, this stopped it. And I thought, well, what is this? Where has this come from? And it took a lot of courage to actually recognize that it was me stirring up my own money shame, my feelings of being judged, my own experience of having not had, or when I did have, not keeping it. So when you said earlier about keeping it, that really resonated with me. So I was faced with a choice. I either don't continue the course because I don't feel that I want to do that, or accept this is me resisting change, and then take a step out of my comfort zone with the courage to face it. And obviously, because I'm still here, I chose that second one. But it did take a lot of courage just to turn the light inwards and go through it myself, have my own transformation. But I don't think you can get to the end of it and be a great coach unless you've been through that yourself. You can't turn up as your best self and really guide people on that journey unless you actually know that journey yourself.
And what was that transformation for you like? Where were you when you had that kind of, oh my God, I don't think I want to deal with this, to actually I'm gonna have the courage to work through this for myself? What was that transformation like for yourself?
It was quick, actually, quicker than I expected. So it was probably, we were stuck in lockdown. It was winter. I was busy with work and family. So there are lots of reasons I could kind of project on that being the reason for it. Also trying to move house, as you remember. And that was also part of it, how much did I deserve? So where I was emotionally on my money journey was very much, and I hadn't realised, about not deserving things or not being worth something. And I think that ties in slightly to now I can have a fee conversation because I know I'm worth something. So to go from a feeling of not being worth anything to go through and recognising that I am, and recognizing that I do deserve things and that I am valuable and that I have value, there were some really uncomfortable moments with myself in that. Where's that come from? How have I learned that? Why do I believe that? So to reflect back on that, and now have stepped forwards and be at the point where I can say, genuinely believe that I am valuable, I am worth something, and I have something to contribute. So that's been a great transformation personally for me.
And what impact did that have for you then, having the conversations with clients about the price of your services?
So I had a conflict because I came into financial services. I'm a really honest person, and I'm a really giving person. So I came to financial services to bring that honesty and that giving. Then I'd get to the fee part of the conversation where I wanted to be honest. And I wanted to be transparent, and I was dreading, just dreading having that conversation. So the conflict inside was I should just be giving myself away. I shouldn't be charging for them. And then this underlying thing, which I've just sort of talked about not being worth anything. How could I charge a fee if I wasn't worth anything? So therefore, there was no value to me. So I'd sit and I knew that the bit was coming up where I had to do the fee. And then when I conveyed it to clients, they could obviously hear, because your voice changes, your demeanor changes, your body language changes. And then you get the challenge. So they're challenged, why that fee? Or just as I was about to say it, this used to happen so often, I'd put my fee down. So I'd see it, I knew what I was going to say, and a different number would come out of my head. So I ended up charging all the time for it's actually really valuable. Whereas now, I really relish that bit of the conversation. I'm like, oh, yes, we get to the bit about and actually, it was just 2 days ago, a long-standing client phoned up. She'd got all of her annual statements about what the fees were. And now that we're more transparent in our industry, she's seeing it in pound signs. So she phoned me up to say, well, the old advisor said he wasn't going to charge me anything. Well, he didn't charge her an initial fee, but she obviously hasn't had 15 years of financial advice for nothing. And it was just so easy just to explain to her that this is what you get, this is the value, this is what it's given to you. And she thanked me at the end of the call, and that's really great. So I feel now I can be that honest person I want to be, but also, and that value is something that my clients really benefit from.
Wow. Thank you so much for being so honest and sharing that. I know that's not always the easy thing to do, but I think for me is that it doesn't matter whether we're a financial advisor ourselves, all of us struggle with the same things. We struggle with having that conversation about money because it feels uncomfortable because of the meaning that we've attached to it. And what I just love about your own personal journey through this, Catherine, is how you managed to get to that place where it feels deeply uncomfortable and then have the courage. That reminds me of Brené Brown, like that courageousness, that courage to work through that for yourself and have that transformation for your own financial security. What impact do you now think then is being able to add this repertoire of being a certified financial coach? How do you think this will help to serve your clients?
So the clients that I have in the financial advice kind of part of me, I think I can just have better money conversations. So I'll give you another example that was actually one of the catalysts for me joining your course. Was this lovely couple, and this gentleman said to me, look, I don't save. I've never saved. I'm never going to save. A phenomenal monthly income, and yet we were having a conversation about equity release, which is often almost like a last choice solution. And I knew I was kind of crying out inside that, hey, there's an elephant in this room, is why aren't you saving? Why haven't you saved? And I had no idea how to have that conversation with him. And I almost wish that he was my next client, that I could now challenge that limiting belief, or even have met him 5-10 years sooner, where he could have put things in place that perhaps he hadn't needed to end up at a point of needing equity release. So I think they're going to benefit by better money conversations that help them with solutions later. I think the coaching clients who perhaps aren't my financial advice clients, they're going to benefit by having, so my first coaching client, we had a lovely conversation. She actually spends and gives, and they're quite intertwined, her understanding of giving and spending. And 12 hours after our first call, she sent me this lovely message. She'd taken an action from our call. She'd saved £2,000 in her business. She'd already saved the fee that she'd paid for me for our course and our coaching together. And she's on track to save effectively £24,000 in 1 year alone after 12 hours.
Wow.
I think is a massive impact to her. And if we have that sort of level of impact with people, even if I speak to 100 people, that's 100 people who've had that sort of impact. So I find that really exciting, the speed of change, of transformation, when they're motivated to join you on that journey.
So do you think financial coaching is for everybody?
No, and I think it could be, but I think, just as I said earlier with my challenge, you've got to want to do it. You've got to have a little bit of courage to bring in the curiosity and accept that change. I think if anybody's going through it and they do get a bit of a block or a negativity, I think I'd reassure them that work through it. So I can't coach someone, and this goes back to swimming, unless they are actually doing their bit themselves. So it's a relationship. They've got to want to change at something. They're not there because everything's hunky-dory. They're with you and having a conversation because something isn't quite right. So I think invested in that journey themselves. So, and we're not all ready for that. I found that hard, and I volunteered to do this. So yeah, I think when they're ready, absolutely. But I don't think all of us are necessarily in a position where we want to, and we will get resistance.
And having been through the program now, then, so you've experienced some change work for yourself, you've experienced change work for your clients. How would you, if anybody's kind of sitting and listening to this thinking, I'm really curious to learn more about financial coaching, as a financial professional, what would you say to them? What message would you give to them if they're thinking or considering bringing coaching into their work?
I would say absolutely do it, because you can do it in a little way, and just have better conversations with your clients. You can not use it with your clients, but you turn up as a better version of yourself because you're not carrying your own biases, for example. I used to went to conversations thinking that everybody should pay their debts off because that was my issue, whereas I'm able to kind of put my issue aside. So it can be very, very small, but still powerful. And I do think that when you look at this is something close to my heart, is you look at the advice gap, as it gets called by the FCA or the Citizens Advice Bureau. There's a massive amount of people who would benefit from accessing advice if only they were either in a position to afford it or comfortable having a conversation or felt valuable enough to benefit from that. So if as many coaches we can address that, then to me that makes a huge step forward, not just for us as individuals, but as an entire society.
And how does the work that you have completed through the program, how does that differ to perhaps other qualifications or programs that you've done in the past?
So this was my first financial coaching course and program. And obviously it differs from the financial advice, very dry books, very technical, very exam-led. But even courses I've done before, so before I was a financial advisor, I was a yoga teacher. So that was a 3-year, effectively a coaching course. One differed almost entirely down to, I think, the people. I find financial services, we're a really giving in industry. I know almost everybody I've ever met is more than happy to help you, to reach out, to refer to you, to support you, to give you technical knowledge. So I think we're already quite a giving industry. But you add the coaching element to that, and you've got even more giving. So the people on our cohort, I would probably say 2/3 of them I consider friends. And I think that's going to stay. So yeah, there's a real sense of community and working together, and that shared set of values. And I think by the time you've been so open with each other about things, you do feel you do know them. So yeah, I think that's probably been the biggest difference.
Yeah, I think I really underestimated the power of the community in our programs, and we have like a WhatsApp group, and I mean some of the conversations that go on in there are just they're fun, they're hilarious. We have a couple of people like Kieran who's in here that talks, but he just uses GIFs for everything. Brilliant, and people posting, I've got this client, how are they doing with this? And everyone really pulling together to support that. So it has really been wonderful. And thank you for being a massive part of helping us to build that community, Catherine.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's been absolutely wonderful.
Oh, you too. And if anybody is interested in reaching out to work with you to maybe experience what financial coaching looks like, where would be the best place for them to contact you, Catherine?
I think they reach out maybe on Instagram and give me a direct message. So I've got an Instagram account called Catherine Coaches. So just feel free to follow me, drop me a DM there. I do join a couple of other coaches, again, the community thing, on Clubhouse on a Friday morning. Or you can find me as a financial advisor at Ethos Financial Solutions. So just find us there and get in touch with me in the office.
Fabulous. And for those people that are listening on the audio, my little one has just popped in and he's waving a lollipop in the air. Is that my little money paper with the picture right here. Thank you so much for your time, Catherine. Really interesting just to understand your own experience of being on the other side of coaching, really, but then also your journey through becoming a certified financial coach for yourself. And I know that the impact that you want to have on the world and the types of clients that you want to work with is just like mind-blowingly exciting. I don't know whether you're able to share like any of that with our audience today, but vision.
Okay, I will. What I'd like to do is kind of reach back. I've got a particular huge soft spot for working with people who've begun parenting early. I think, having been a really young mom myself, I do think that we're highly unsupported, and yet we're there with our energy, our commitment to our families, and I think that often brings those feelings we talked about earlier, such as money shame, that judgment, which was a big one. So what I'm aiming to do with every time I coach is give 10% of my time and my profits back and find a way of actually being there for young moms, whether they're still young or still a little bit older, and working with them going forward. So I'm really excited about being able to do that, watch this space over the next 12 months.
Exciting. So excited. I can't wait to support you, Catherine. Oh, thank you so much. I'll let you go and enjoy your final thing. But thank you, Catherine, for your time, and we'll speak to you all again soon.
Yay, lovely. Thank you, Catherine. Bye-bye. And bye-bye, little one.
See you. Bye.
Bye.